Okay, so in this video, I would be mad, but I'll explain to you why I'm not mad. Okay, so the black community, I believe, was attacked, okay, with a direct energy weapon. All right. Other than that, you would believe that a hurricane, or better yet, a tornado hit St. Louis, a major city. And if you look at it, tornadoes never hit major cities. Never. Never. Tornadoes are typically monsters of the absolute and complete rural world. If 1,000 years pass from now, rural people that once lived in the great land of America will be willing to tell you about the wind monsters that once existed there. Okay? If you get a city that gets hit by a hurricane, or better yet, a tornado, what you'll typically find out is that that's a small little town that just happened to be out in a rural area. All right. So that's why I think it was a direct energy weapon. But I got to express a lot of anger and a lot of frustration at black people because the news media isn't paying this no attention. White people are willing to buy into the notion that the National Guard should be used to fight crime. But yet only 31 members of the National Guard were sent to even aid the people in St. Louis. And the National Guard, this is just something that's a PSA. The general public needs to know that allegedly an American city was hit by a tornado, and your state government did everything in their might to send as few National Guards members to help the population. But the exact same people that they didn't help in that particular city, they're going throughout states and putting the National Guard in their communities with guns, hoping that something jumps off. They can't provoke anything. They can, but if the National Guard member has a rifle, then they're hoping. He may not be, but the powers that be are hoping that something happens. Okay? Now, when it comes to the black politicians, the reason why I say I'm disappointed in black people is that they give these black politicians utter and complete unconditional support. But when things like this happen, something that I do is that I absolutely and completely I dig up every Democrat that is in a particular area, and I see what is it that they had to say about this. And what you'll find out, man, look, if you don't put no pressure on them, what they want to do in these situations is that they want to do nothing. They do not want to go. They just have professional business relationships with rich white people and Republicans. They do not view the body of politics as something that they should be racially defensive or hostile in. They do not want to bug these white people that they deal with politically and business-wise with any type of specific black issue. So if black people themselves don't make nothing into a big issue, trust me, you can think about all of the prominent politicians that you care about. And they don't have to be from St. Louis. Jasmine Crockett, Latita James, so many that you can just roll off the top of your tongue. AOC, Ilhan Omar. And you'll notice not a peep, not a word. And what they're hoping is that you just continue to do what you're doing now, which is why I put these images of Sexxy Red. Now, I also wanted to add some images of Nelly, okay, because Nelly is a popular artist. He's been popular for the last 30 years or so. And he was actually born in Texas, but he's always represented St. Louis his entire life. As a matter of fact, his old group is the St. Lunatics. Okay? And we all know Sexxy Red is from St. Louis. Now, let me tell you what Sexxy Red should have done, okay? She should have waited about 10 weeks to after this happened, and she could have got an outside concert going on. She could have bought a whole lot of these other artists like Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla, and they could have had a fundraiser concert for the victims of the St. Louis tragedy. But we were neglected by the government, and the government, this is what they did. The only way that they use the police is that they put the police in front of white businesses. They flagrantly didn't put police in front of any type of black business. Because what they were hoping is that being that the city was devastated, they hoped that people would riot and start looting, and that black people would just destroy the businesses that are their actual businesses, you know, like the businesses that we actually own. Okay. But yeah, like these little Asian and Indian businesses, we don't own these shits. It really don't matter if they're there or not. If they disappear and go away, then we have no choice but to replace them with our very own shit. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, Sexy Red didn't say anything. And then furthermore, as of right now, I'm looking at 550 plus comments, and the people in St. Louis, they're doing nothing but celebrating her. They're not demanding that she use what little bit of political clout that she has to bring awareness to it. They're not demanding that she do a free concert and give the funds to devastated victims. You know, they're just supporting her. As a matter of fact, many of them wish that she could get the concert going on before November. Now, her group that controls her knows that the burden of this responsibility is on her. But instead of using her to help the people from St. Louis, it's like, fuck black people, let them die. So what we're going to do is move her concert all the way back to November. And hopefully at that time, everybody will have forgotten about it. And there will be no burden on her to in any shape or way mention it and bring it up. And we can just keep pushing her through the music industry as a degenerate black female, putting a negative black image on women, on black women, and teaching black girls to be skanks, whores, and no good piece of shit, bonnet wearing, fake weave ass drag queens, you know, heterosexual drag queens, basically. That's all she promotes. Hetero drag queenism among women, you know, making women into men, making women completely unappealing and pushing men the fuck away from them. You know, your pussy this color, your asshole, like, get out of here. You're a disgusting, just, you know, you're just disgusting. You're disgusting. And the only reason you said you liked Donald Trump one time is that really displays just how indifferent you are to black people. And you got to be the luckiest bitch in the world to be that indifferent toward black people, but yet have black people give you millions of dollars. But at the same time, you can't get mad if this is what black people ultimately do, because it is what it is. You don't hold your politicians accountable and you give them 92% of your vote. So if somebody doesn't do a job but gets an unconditional check, they've got no reason to ever work for you. And if Sexy Red can get unconditional support, and if you're begging and pleading for her to come there in the middle of your devastated rubble, and you actually want to give her money but not hold her to possibly helping you all to rep her hometown and to help her hometown get back on your feet. Imagine you're coming out of a place that just got hit by EMP, possibly, you know, a direct energy weapon, and your black ass is running trying to give somebody that don't give a shit about you money. That's just black people, man. Black people have a slave mentality. That's why people always call black people slave, because the slave gives his energy and his money and his effort, but for nothing that he never gives or anything that he ever does he ever get anything back. He's just eager to work, and he's just eager to give what little that he has. That's sad, but that's black people in a nutshell. Anyway, y'all enjoy the Sexy Red concert. Thanks for listening. I'm out.